Welcome back to the Parkers podcast. I'm Rose, and today we have Karen Brock from Keller Williams Realty.
Hi, how are you?
How are you doing?
Nervous, but good.
That's okay. It's not a big deal. I wanted to bring you on today because, of course, we've interacted a lot on personal levels, on business levels, and so why not just bring in the podcast? And
why not? So. My husband's been on your commercials, so yes. Now it's my turn.
Yes. And you know, it's funny this morning when you said Drew was a little jealous about not being able to come on today. Francel said he had the lead role in the commercial, so he needs to just get off of things.
Oh, there it is. He did have the lead role in the commercial. You're right.
So anyone that's watching, if you guys want to check out our commercial, you can go on our website or on our Facebook page and find our commercial there. It's pretty funny. It's kind of like a take on the take on
extended car
extended car warranties, and it's hilarious. We've had plenty of people tell us how funny that commercial is.
And it was a lot of fun making the commercial, watching it being done. It was fun. It was a good.
How many takes was it to get Drew? How many takes was it that Drew kissed Francel?
Oh, see, now you're giving the whole lead up to the commercial, but there's a couple of kisses involved.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Francel.
He'll be fine. He loved it. He loves you guys anyways. But.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you, what got you, well, I guess we can rewind a little bit. Do you remember how you met us or what brought us together?
So actually, it was a networking group that I met Francel in. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, Francel and I have very similar personalities with what we consider to be funny. And we ended up sitting next to each other in this networking meeting. And it was great. Like, we just seemed to hit it right off the bat. It was like my long lost brother that I hadn't seen in 20 years. And then we just started treating each other as siblings and started literally poking each other and trying to get the other one in trouble during the actual meeting. Yeah.
He still refers to you as his networking wife. So
yes, I'm the networking wife. He is my networking husband.
Yeah, you guys ended up moving up in the positions in that networking group, I think, as well.
Yes, we did. Yes.
Yeah. So we also had a chance to work on a football league board.
We did
together.
That was a lot of fun too. That was the second that we did together, and that's how you and I became friends. Was through the youth football program.
Yep,
that was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of work.
A lot of work.
But
you know what? A lot of hours. I still miss the concession stand.
I know.
I do. There's something about working the concession stand with the kids. It's a lot of fun.
I know. I love them. And especially because you make good memories and tight relationships with the kids. And they remember you. Even though, like, we didn't have positions with them, like, on the field or anything like that. They knew who we were.
They knew.
And, yeah, it was pretty fun.
It was fun.
So one of the things that I wanted to ask you was, I know this year, I think it was this year, you had gotten an award at Keller Williams.
Yeah.
Was it this year or last year?
It was this year.
Okay.
Is that the one from Northport?
I don't know.
Is that the best of with Northport?
It was either that or I thought you had gotten a trophy thing or.
So I'm not really good when it comes to accolades. I haven't.
Well, I know you're not, and that's why Francel wanted me to ask you specifically about these.
I have a tendency to be very grateful, and I am very, very grateful. But I like to be behind the scenes more. So I'm much more comfortable when, I'm cheering other people for receiving awards, not necessarily me.
Yeah, but you still get them.
We do. So as a realtor with Keller Williams, I'm part of the Florida Living team with Bobby Leahy, and she and I have 7 agents that work with us.
Oh, I didn't realize you had that many.
Yeah, we're up to 7 agents right now. We're growing, and it's like the little engine that could. We just keep going and going and going. So with that being said, we've been very fortunate to receive a few awards through Keller Williams, but also through like Best of Charlotte, Best of Northport. Those are probably, I like those even more because those are coming from our customers.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's awesome.
But you have won them as well.
Yeah.
Because you were at that dinner as well for Best of Northport.
Yep, just the Best of Northport. We don't compete in the Charlotte County one just because there's so many air conditioning companies down here, but I guess it's the same scenario with you guys. You guys
It
have
is.
a ton, but of realty companies and
Well, the Best of Charlotte starts, don't hold me to it, but I think it starts Wednesday of this week. The voting starts.
I didn't even know.
I think voting opens up this week. So you'll be seeing me.
Oh yeah, all over.
You'll see me all over. Vote for me. Vote for me.
That's really cool. So what was the award then that you won through Keller Williams also?
So that was going to be for sales volumes. So we had a very, very good year this past year. So everything is done a year in the rears, and that's how they do the awards. So we were at that point, there was a total of 5 of us on the team, and we had the 3rd highest group sales.
Oh wow! Now is that just Keller Williams, or is that across the board?
That is here for Keller Williams for our local market center, and then this past month we were in the top 6th for all of Southwest Florida, which incorporates Miami, Marco Island, Naples, Fort Lauderdale. So our group was in the top 6 for sales.
Oh wow, that's a huge area.
It is those are the ones where I kind of sit back and you reflect and you're like, wow. Like we had our Monday morning team meeting today, and we must have said at least 4 times congratulations to everybody. Like that's a feat.
Yeah.
That is definitely a feat when you're compared to groups. And again, we're a total of 9 people, and yeah, we're just keep plugging along.
Wow. Now, in doing all of that, are you guys only local here, or where do you service?
So we service Southwest Florida, primarily Northport, Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda, Venice, Englewood area, Sarasota area. Do we have listings in other areas? 100%. We do. However, this is our primary focus.
But you can basically sell from
We
anywhere.
can sell anywhere in Florida,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. We're licensed in Florida.
Now, do you think that the hurricane contributed to a lot of the sales from last year, or how did the hurricane affect you?
So I know we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary mark. The hurricane slowed everything down. It really, and again, for many people, it was after Ian came through, they needed to refocus on their own primary homes. And we were very fortunate with Keller Williams. When they talk about the big red trucks, they really do mean there's big red semi trucks that come along, and it's filled with water and rations and anything you could potentially need, generators, gas cans, extension cords, so many different things. So we were fortunate enough that not only were our agents received assistance, but then we were able to share that with our customers as well.
Oh, that's really cool.
So there were times that I would load up the back of my car with cases of Gatorade, cases of water. Once our agents had been served, we then went out to the communities, and I would drive in some of these communities just handing out, hey, who needs a case of water? Have some water, have some Gatorade.
Wow.
But it definitely impacted. And we're starting now to see even some more homes come on the market, because now people are finally having a lot of their claims settled through the insurance companies. So now they're fixing up the homes, they're able to sell the homes, whatever it is that they need to do.
Wow.
So
well,
we're
that's
starting
really
to see
good.
more of those on the market.
Yeah. So what's the average time the house is spending on the market now? I know before they were flying off, like you could list it that morning and it would be sold by evening.
It would be. And no, we're not in that market anymore. So average date to sale is between 30, under contract, not to be sold, but to get it under contract is between 30 and 40 days.
Oh, wow. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Do you think that COVID compounded with the hurricane affected real estate here?
I think right now it is, first of all, we're not in season. So for this particular region, middle of June, July, August, September are slower months.
Oh, okay.
And they have been historically. If you look at 2012 to 2019, those are historically slower months. When 2020 occurred, and then the lockdowns across the United States occurred, our sales were going up. People were coming down to Florida. They were investigating Florida as an area to live. So that increased our sales and decreased days on market.
Oh, wow. So after the hurricane claims have been paid out and you're seeing the uptick in the amount of houses being put on the market, do you think that as season's coming in, you're going to continue to see that rise, or do you think that we'll have lesser homes available?
As long as the weather stays positive.
You never know with our weather.
You never know. It's not November yet, so we're still in that season. I do anticipate seeing an increase of sales in this area. I also, right now, the rates are what the rates are compared to 2 years ago when they were hovering around 3%. Now they're hovering around 8%. And again, it all depends on so many different variables that I can't quote an actual rate. And then I've had a couple of listing appointments recently in the last few weeks where we've talked about, okay, do we list right now? Do you want to wait until October? Do you want to wait until November when the season really starts picking up? Halloween is when a lot of our seasonal residents will start arriving. There's also elections in November, so it also depends on what happens in there's so many variables that it's hard. And we always joke about having a crystal ball, and I just keep telling my people that it's broken. Yeah. It's in 2 pieces. I don't know.
Maybe you have one of those balls that you shake up and it gives you the answer.
The magic 8
balls.
The
magic 8 balls.
The magic 8 balls. That's what I need. I need a realtor magic 8 ball because you just don't know, and you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Do you think that you had mentioned that right now we have like a 4-month supply of homes. If we reach that balance of the 6-month supply, do you think that the rates will have to start going down, or does that even play a fact?
So it's funny because based on my knowledge, it's a seesaw effect. So you got the balance. So when you start seeing it become more of a buyer's market, sometimes you'll start seeing the rates go down. Unfortunately, this past year, there have been brilliant people on the news making predictions and saying, based historically on this issue and this issue, we anticipate the rates to go down by a point on Wednesday. And then all of a sudden Wednesday comes and the rates go up. It's the federal government. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just going crazy
I don't know. But what I do tell people is that I also remember from back in the early 2000s, even back in the 80s and 90s when we were in double digits. I mean, when I bought our first home, when was it? It was in between the boys. So it was 1996. It probably was 96, 97. We were paying 14%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that's really high for a home, especially since we just had them down around 3% recently.
Well, and that's the thing. And that is people's most recent recollection is having those 3 and 4% rates. I mean, even when the 4% went up to 5%, we were like, oh my gosh, it's 5%, and now we're up to 8%. So it really is hard to predict, especially when you're, it's that Monday morning quarterbacking and you're watching everything on the news and you're following all the finances and you're following everything, and all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, okay, I think we're going to get a reduction. And then all of a sudden, nope,
it doesn't.
Surprise.
So do you think, based on what's happening now and what's happened the last few years, that you've been watching everything happening so seriously, do you think that it feels like we're moving towards another recession?
I don't think that. And the reason why I don't think that is because back in the early 2000s, there were no safeguards in place.
Yeah.
And there are safeguards in place. My sister just bought a condo in Myrtle Beach. They closed on it 2 weeks ago. And she was on the phone with me multiple times a week. Why does the lender need this paper? Why do they need that paper? Wait, I already sent them my monthly statements from last month. Why do I have to send them this month? And all I kept saying was, Patriot Act, Patriot Act, Like, there are now more fail safe programs in place so that you cannot go in. And in 2006, you could finance 105% of the home value. You can't do that anymore. Like, people literally were financing more than what the house would appraise for. So they were already underwater.
Yeah.
But that's just the way the market was. They also didn't really do credit checks back then either. You talk to a lender and they'll tell you stories about how easy it was to get approved for a loan.
Oh, wow.
It's not like that anymore. There's so many hoops that you have to go through in order to get approved.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because we want to still buy. And unfortunately, back in 2007 when the market crashed, Francel was working he was actually working in electrical background, I guess, and he lost his job during that time. And so that was really hard for us. And of course, now that we own our own company, if we had to watch out for a recession also, that'd be kind of difficult to kind of pinpoint, like, when is this going to happen and how is it going to affect our business? But we've tried to balance. Yeah, it's hard. My brother, he does electrical, and he's primarily in new construction. And I've told him over and over, like, you have got to get in service work because if a recession were to hit, I know from what happened the last time, all the people that had their money tied up in new construction homes that just halted, they lost the money. And so we do some new construction, but we primarily do service and like renovations and stuff like that. But it's just, it would be too detrimental to be locked up in new construction right now.
And I just shared this weekend, I shared your contact information with another customer of mine that they'll be calling.
Oh, awesome.
If they haven't called already.
I appreciate it. So Stephanie is the one that answers the phone all day. So unless they call in the evening, they'll get her. So I don't even know who calls anymore, but it's pretty cool.
It is.
So I also wanted to bring up, because I know we're only have a few minutes left, I wanted to talk about like your family and stuff, because of course we love hanging out with you guys, and
they're nuts.
Yeah, I mean,
they're crazy.
If anyone's watched any of our episodes, we've talked about our kids, and of course they know how crazy our life can be. So
yeah. So let's see. Austin just turned 25 on Friday, and I was not there with him.
You might have been a little sad about that.
I may have been. He was not. I was. It was on FaceTime. I got to wish him a happy birthday, but he lives up in Albany, New York. He has his nursing degree, so he works for a large practice up in Albany, and he loves every minute of it. And we laugh at him because he's living in the basement of my brother and sister-in-law and with his cousins, and they have a blast. He loves it. He loves the weather. He loves everything up there. And then I have Jake, who is presently looking for employment. He has a sports marketing degree, and he's up by Augusta, Georgia. So he's been interviewing with baseball, golf. He went to Chattanooga for a soccer interview. But he does sports marketing, and that's he can talk sports all day long, and I just glaze over. I just nod. I'm one of those, I nod my head, and I'm like, and then I get really excited when I know one of the names that he mentions, and I'm like, oh, I like that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, what team is he on? I said, I don't know. He has the red colors. It's like how we do European football, otherwise known as soccer.
Yeah.
The first time, as a mom, I'm trying to support them and get them jerseys, while I was quickly informed at the store, no, they're not jerseys, they're called kits. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay, so now I'm now educated, they're called kits. But then I was educated on, they don't necessarily put the names of the team on those shirts. They put their sponsors. So I thought the sponsors were the actual names of the team, and then it just became, oh, Mom, don't go into the store anymore because you're just embarrassing us. And I'm like, okay. But so sports, I try really hard.
I know him and Francel love to talk sports, and
the
Francel
time.
knows enough to get himself in trouble. I know Jake, that's his whole realm, and Francel just likes it as a viewer.
Right.
But Jake loves to be immersed in it and live in it. And
live in it, breathe it, loves the stats, loves the numbers, loves everything. So, yeah, the boys are good. And then there's Drew at home. And, you know, he's always good. He's just, we live in Florida.
I know.
That's his whole attitude. How can things be bad? We are in Florida. We're not dealing with a rainy season. We're from New York, and it rained this entire summer, and they're getting more rain now as we speak. I feel bad for laughing. I'm so sorry, guys. But yeah, we've got blue skies, and it was cold and rainy all summer long.
we used to tell everyone when we first moved down here, it's so beautiful here. And until you've lived here and can understand like how often it's sunny and beautiful, like you could literally have just gotten fired from your job. And then you walk outside, well, at least the sun is still shining because it's so nice here.
So one of the things I tell people, especially those that are moving into this area, is I warn them. I said, look, if it's a Friday and it's like 11 o'clock and it's beautiful down here and you think you're going to get a hold of someone, don't be surprised if you get their answering machine. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, because Friday afternoons start the weekend and we're all out on our boats.
Yep.
And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, that's the norm here. Like coming from New York, yeah, it was normal to work 60, 80 hours a week. You come down here and all of a sudden people look at me like I'm weird. And I'm like, what? They're like, go out on the boat. It's a Friday. I'm like, yeah, it's Friday. I got to work. They're like, no, you don't. It's a great boat day. Go out on the boat. And I'm like, oh.
Like I can do that?
I'm allowed? You're giving me permission? Okay, great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we love doing everything outdoors. I mean, we just went to Tennessee last week, and it was awesome. It was so pretty. And I told Francel, though, the weather was just right. It was nice and warm during the day. It got chilly at night where you could go sit around the fire pit. But if it was any colder, there was no way. I mean, we even botched doing the whitewater rafting because it was slightly too cold for us.
Well, how about when you went to the Steelers game? Was it last year?
Oh my gosh. That was the Browns game.
Oh, there was a Browns game. So let's see. I gave you my Uggs, my Ugg boots, my Ugg gloves, hat, scarves. Yes. I gave you everything.
And
I loaded you up.
We still had the electric jackets, and we had full like the overall snowsuits and everything. We were so cold. I didn't even make it to halftime.
That's right. I remember you telling me that.
It was crazy. Yeah. I do not like the cold. I do not envy anybody that lives north of Tampa, really, because
there it is.
Anything north of Tampa, it's
too cold.
It's too cold.
I agree.
It might snow up there, and I don't know. I just don't like it. But I'm really glad that you came on today. I wanted to be able to. I'm sure we can share her link to her website and everything, and contact information. Do you want to give them your number to contact you?
Yeah, sure.
Looking?
So if anyone is looking to buy, sell, or even invest, I'm working with a few investors right now. My phone number is 845-313-9726. Yes, it's still my New York number. You know, it's just hard to get rid of phone numbers. They become part of your personality. So that number is part of me. And again, I'm with Keller Williams, Peace River Partners, Florida Living Team.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on here. And I guess for all the viewers, we'll catch you next time.
Thanks.